what if the difference between, absolute chaos and total spiritual sovereignty came down to exactly 1 literal second?
Right. Not like a 10-day silent retreat.
Exactly. No hours of chanting on a mountaintop. No isolating yourself from society. Just one tick of the clock.
I mean, it completely upends the traditional self-help model, doesn't it?
It really does. Welcome to this deep dive. If you're listening to this on your commute right now or while you're making coffee, get ready. Because we are exploring something that challenges our entire conception of time, habits, and, well, reality itself.
Yeah, we're so used to the idea that profound change requires this grueling, lifelong struggle.
Yeah.
But today's material suggests that absolute psychological liberation is instantaneous, if you understand the mechanics of the mind.
Exactly. Today, we are immersing ourselves in an incredibly profound spiritual text. We are exploring a Murli.
Right.
For the precise context, this specific Murli is dated July 12, 2026, and it was originally revised on December 31st, 2010 in Madhuban.
Such an important date.
Yeah. And the mission for our deep dive today is substantial. We are unpacking a masterclass on spiritual stability. We're breaking down a very specific, intense daily drill for mental focus.
Which is harder than it sounds.
Oh, way harder. And we'll discover how to track your own progress toward becoming what the text describes as a crown-wearing soul of divine purity.
I love that phrase.
Yeah.
But, before we get into the mechanics of those drills, we really have to understand the environment in which this Murli was delivered.
Right.
Because the setting changes how we receive the information.
Okay, yes. As Baba said in the Murli today, this is happening around New Year's, but it's not your standard generic holiday greeting.
Not at all.
Avyakt Bapdada, the spiritual father and guide, is delivering New Year and New World greetings. And the Murli describes him traveling from the subtle realm to the physical realm to meet the children in their Madhuban home.
We really need to pause on that.
Yeah.
Because the bridging of dimensions here is vital to the tone of the entire text.
Oh.
Well, in this framework, Avyakt Bapdada isn't just a philosopher dropping off a motivational speech. The subtle realm represents a dimension of pure consciousness. It's free from the density and gravity of our physical world.
Right, it's entirely different.
Exactly. So when the Murli talks about him traveling to the physical realm, it's describing an interdimensional frequency shift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He is bringing the pure, undistorted frequency of that higher realm down into the dense, chaotic physical world.
So it's not just about tweaking your daily routine or like making a simple resolution.
No, it is an invitation to undergo a complete, radical, psychological, and spiritual reset. It's an invitation to match that subtle frequency.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because matching that frequency starts with a complete redefinition of reality.
Right.
Right out of the gate, the Murli draws a very sharp contrast regarding how we view time. Baba points out how the world celebrates a new year for just one day.
Yeah, the countdown, the fireworks.
Exactly, the toast. And by January 2nd, everyone is back to being stressed out and exhausted. But for the souls at the confluence age, the Sangam Yug, the celebration of the new world, is constant. Baba said in the Murli today that he has given the golden world as a gift.
And this is key. It isn't some post-apocalyptic utopia we have to wait for.
No. Baba explicitly says this golden world is held constantly in the eyes of the souls, accessible in a single second. The phrasing is, today at the confluence, tomorrow ruling the kingdom.
What's fascinating here is the psychological mechanism at play. When Baba says the golden world is in your eyes, he isn't speaking poetically.
Right.
He is talking about the lens through which you perceive reality. Think of it like the brain's reticular activating system.
Oh, like how your brain filters reality based on what you tell it to focus on.
Exactly. If your internal state is anchored in spiritual sovereignty, you project that reality outward. You are physically standing in the chaotic present, but your consciousness is inhabiting the golden world.
That's incredible.
You perceive every interaction, every crisis, and every moment through the frequency of absolute, elevated peace.
But, the Murli immediately grounds that elevated state with a massive responsibility. It's not just a personal vacation from stress.
No, not at all.
Baba explains that people out in the world are sorrowful, restless, and literally pleading for peace, happiness, and joy.
Yeah.
And he says that ancestor souls are currently being called out to by these people because Baba feels tremendous compassion for these restless souls. We, the practitioners, are instructed to act as merciful children of the bestower, the master data.
Right.
And we do this by serving them through Mansa Seva.
Mansa Seva.
Yeah.
Or service through the mind. This is where the concept of the golden world moves from just personal peace to global responsibility.
Okay, explain that.
An ancestor soul is the root of the human family tree. If a tree's branches are withered and diseased, which is the sorrow and restlessness of the world, you don't cure the tree by painting the leaves green.
Right, that wouldn't do anything.
You cure it by nourishing the roots. Mansa Seva operates on the principle that consciousness is not confined to the skull. It is a field.
I want to stop you right there and push back on this a bit, because if someone listening is sitting in traffic or, dealing with a crisis at work, and they hear that their job is to just sit there and hold the golden world in their vision to serve the world, isn't that just spiritual bypassing?
I can see why it sounds like that.
Yeah, I mean, if people are out there actually suffering, how does me having a peaceful thought in my living room actually help them?
Yeah.
It sounds like an excuse to retreat into a comfortable bubble and ignore the burning building.
It is the exact opposite of retreating. But I understand why it feels that way, because we are so conditioned to believe that helping must involve physical scrambling.
Right. Doing something visible.
Exactly. Let's look at the actual mechanism of Mansa Seva. Have you ever walked into a room after two people just had a screaming match, but they are currently silent?
Oh, absolutely. You can cut the tension with a knife. You physically feel it in your chest.
Exactly. That is emotional contagion. It is the invisible, energetic resonance of their thoughts lingering in the space. Now reverse that. If you enter a room where someone is in a state of absolute, profound, unshakable peace, your nervous system automatically begins to co-regulate with theirs.
Oh, I see.
Mansa Seva is doing that on a global scale. It is fiercely active. It requires tremendous concentrated energy to hold a vibration of pure peace in a chaotic environment.
So running into the burning building panicking doesn't help.
Exactly. If you run in screaming, you haven't saved anyone. You've just become another victim. You are providing the exact antidote the suffering requires by holding that peace.
That makes the first responder analogy we often hear so much deeper.
Right.
Like, paramedics don't match the panic of the accident victim. Their absolute cold calmness is the tool that saves the person's life.
Exactly.
So as an ancestor soul, if you match the world's anxiety, you are starving the branches of the tree. Your stability is the literal oxygen they are asking for.
Precisely. To be a spiritual first responder, your internal equipment has to be flawless. You cannot transmit absolute peace if your own mind is generating static.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If your mind is cluttered with old grievances, insecurities, or quick tempers, that is the frequency you are broadcasting. You cannot broadcast the golden world if your internal wiring is rusted.
Which is the perfect bridge to the next massive instruction in the Murli, the Dharna, the deep inculcation.
Yes.
And honestly, this is where the text gets incredibly challenging. Because to be that flawless tuning fork, Baba says, as the old year ends, the children must make a firm resolution to bid a permanent farewell to old sanskars.
And we should define sanskars clearly here. These aren't just bad habits like biting your nails.
Right.
A sanskar is a deep-seated resolve. It is a fundamental personality trait.
Yeah.
It is a deeply grooved neural pathway that dictates how you react to the world.
Right. And Bada identifies these old sanskars as the primary obstacles, the vina in a soul's spiritual effort, their purusharth.
Yeah.
He calls out this massive contradiction. He notes that children will say, Baba is my world, yet they still hold on to these old habits. It's total cognitive dissonance.
It is. You cannot logically claim that your entire reality is anchored in the supreme, immortal truth of a spiritual father, while simultaneously falling to pieces because someone criticized your outfit or cut you off in traffic.
Yeah.
The two realities are just incompatible.
And the Murli gets very specific about how we catch these contradictions.
Yeah.
Baba said in the Murli today that when the children give their daily reports, their padamail, at the early morning meditation time, the Amrit Vela, it is these exact old habits that show up and weaken their efforts. Right. We sit down at 4 a.m. in the most sacred, quiet hour of the day, and we have to admit to ourselves, yeah, I lost my temper yesterday. Yeah, I got jealous of my coworker.
The padamail is a fascinating psychological tool. It is an exercise in radical self-audit.
A daily ledger.
Exactly. In corporate terms, it's looking at the daily ledger and realizing the same department keeps bleeding capital. But instead of money, you are losing spiritual energy.
Right.
So how does Baba instruct the listener to stop the leak? It's not just by trying harder.
No, he gives this incredible visual. He asks the children to raise their hands, but specifically the hands of the mind, to give away these old sanskars forever.
It's a powerful image.
And there is an absolute non-negotiable rule attached to this. Once you give something to Baba, it is no longer yours. You cannot take back what you have given away.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of psychology, this is about the complete revocation of ownership.
Okay, expand on that.
Usually when we try to break a habit, we fight it. We say, I am going to try really hard not to be angry today. But you still own the anger. You're just suppressing it.
Oh, right.
Baba is demanding a legal transfer of property. If you lift the hands of your mind and give your anger or your anxiety to Baba, it is gone.
Wow.
If you get angry the next day, you are literally stealing back property that no longer belongs to you. Claiming I am anxious becomes a violation of that spiritual transaction.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because in practice, my mind rebels against this entirely. Let me use an analogy. It's like taking a giant black trash bag full of old moth-eaten clothes to a donation bin. You drop them in, you feel great about it.
You feel totally liberated.
Right. But the next morning, it gets a little chilly, and you drive back to the donation bin, climb halfway inside, and try to fish out that one incredibly ugly, scratchy sweater just because it's familiar.
Yes.
Baba is essentially telling us, walk away from the bin. It's not your sweater anymore. So why are we so obsessed with fishing our garbage back out?
Because the ego finds safety in the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. Our sanskars are our identity.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves, I am the person who worries. I am the cynic. If you drop those, who are you?
That's terrifying.
Exactly. Stepping into a completely pure, obstacle-free state of mind feels terrifyingly vulnerable because there's an unknown frequency. We dive back into the donation bin because we would rather be comfortably miserable than brave the unknown of total liberation.
Wow, we'd rather be comfortably miserable. But Baba counters that fear with a massive promise in the Murli.
He does.
He says, one step of courage from the children brings multi-steps of help from the father. If you just make the firm thought to walk away from the bin, you receive the blessing of being completely obstacle-free. The nirvana bhav.
It's the universe matching your commitment. The multi-steps of help arrive the moment you genuinely revoke ownership.
Yeah.
But, and this is a critical but, how do you stop your subconscious from driving back to the bin on autopilot?
Yes, because resolutions fade. By 2 p.m., I'm stressed and my anxiety is back. How do we mechanically prevent the relapse?
This brings us to the core mechanism of the Murli. You cannot fight a deeply ingrained habit with vague intentions. You fight it with rigorous, structural, mental discipline.
Right.
You have to actively build the new neural pathways.
And Baba gives us the exact workout regimen for this. He gives a specific, highly practical homework assignment to all listeners, regardless of how long they've been studying. The 1-second drill.
And we need to dissect this drill because it is deceptively simple and incredibly difficult.
See,
the instruction is to detach from absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Your physical environment, the sensations in your body, your memories, your worries, your to-do lists, your physical identity, and stabilize yourself as a point of light, a bindu rup, with absolutely zero thoughts in exactly 1 second.
1 second. Not a guided meditation where you slowly relax your toes and listen to ocean sounds for 20 minutes. Snap. 1 second. Zero thoughts. Point of light.
It's an instant shift.
And the prescription is relentless. Practice this every single hour throughout the day for 15 days.
This is where we get into the neurology of a pattern interrupt.
Okay, what does that mean?
Why every single hour? Because human consciousness accumulates residue. You read a distressing news headline residue.
Oh, sure.
A colleague sends a passive-aggressive email residue. You sit in traffic residue. If you don't clear it, by the end of the day, your mind is a chaotic mess and you fall right back into your old sanskars.
Right into the donation bin.
Exactly. Doing this drill every 60 minutes is like clearing the RAM on a computer before it crashes. It prevents the accumulation of mental fatigue.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here. I'm imagining a listener who is a nurse in an ER, or a parent wrangling 3 screaming toddlers, or an executive in a hostile board meeting. Are we genuinely expected to achieve a thoughtless point of light in 1 literal second while the world is exploding around us?
Yes, and in fact, Baba explicitly commands that you test this outside of a peaceful meditation room.
Really?
You must test it in your own environment. If you only practice peace in a quiet room, your peace is dependent on the room, not on your sovereignty.
That is a harsh truth.
Think of a martial artist. They don't just practice their blocks in a quiet dojo. They train so intensely that when they are suddenly attacked in a chaotic alleyway, their muscle memory blocks the punch in a fraction of a second. This drill is building spiritual muscle memory. You are training the mind's agility to flex on command.
It's training a reflex, and the Murli gives a profound historical context for why we need this reflex. Baba stresses the need to practice the 5 different spiritual forms and to make this effortless. He says it needs to become as natural as body consciousness has become over the ages of Dwapar, the Copper Age, and Kali Yuga, the Iron Age.
This puts the difficulty of the drill into perspective.
How so?
Well, Baba is acknowledging that human beings have been practicing body consciousness, which is identifying solely with the physical body, the ego, the material acquisitions, for entire epochs.
Thousands of years.
For thousands of years, our momentum has been pushing us toward anxiety, defense mechanisms, and ego clashes. It feels natural to be stressed because it's a thousands of years old habit. Yeah. The 1-second drill is the ultimate disruptor. You're trying to rewrite the ancient default programming of the soul in 15 days.
So mechanically, how do we master this consistent daily soul-conscious drill? If I am that executive or that nurse, how do I practically execute this without getting fired or neglecting a patient?
You build an environment of intentionality. You don't need to sit in a lotus position or close your eyes. Set an unobtrusive alarm on your smartwatch or phone to vibrate on the hour.
Oh, like a gentle reminder.
Yes. And when you feel that vibration, you do not stop your physical task. You pause your internal narrative. For 1 second, you drop every label. You are no longer a nurse, a parent, or an executive. You visualize yourself as a tiny, immortal, radiant point of light situated in the center of the forehead.
Just for 1 second.
You experience the absolute silence of that point. And then, at second number 2, you pick the label back up and continue the meeting. Over 15 days, that 1 second of absolute silence widens. The groove gets deeper. Spiritual stability becomes your new automatic response.
That is incredibly practical. It takes the mysticism out of it and turns it into a measurable workout.
Exact.
But if it's an internal workout, how do we know if we are actually gaining muscle? If I go to the gym, I can see the weights getting heavier. How do I measure my progress in a 1-second invisible mental drill?
That leads exactly to Baba's next instruction regarding self-evaluation. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Baba asks the children to check their success in this hourly drill and actually write a report to their teacher.
Right. And this self-charting, this brutally honest daily evaluation, determines a soul's eligibility for a high spiritual status. The Murali uses a very specific symbol for this, referring to whether you will be part of the 108 or 16,000 rosary, the mala.
Let's decode the rosary, because it's not a VIP club or an arbitrary ranking system.
No, it's not.
In spiritual traditions, a mala is a metaphor for unity and frequency resonance. The 108 souls represent the highest frequency, the practitioners who have achieved absolute mastery over their internal state. They vibrate at pure soul consciousness constantly.
And the 16,000?
The 16,000 represent a wider circle who have attained a high degree of sovereignty but perhaps still experience minor fluctuations. When Baba asks you to write a report based on the 1-second drill, he is asking, are you vibrating at the frequency of the 108? Can you hit that point of light in 1 second every time? Or do you hesitate?
And he encourages complete, comprehensive self-checking across all subjects. Baba asks, are you experiencing every attainment, every power, and every secret of knowledge?
It's a tall order.
It is. And he gives a very sobering warning. If anything is lacking, tests will inevitably come according to the drama of time.
Because the universe is the ultimate auditor. The drama of time will always find the crack in your foundation.
Oh, for sure.
If you are incredibly peaceful, but you haven't mastered the power to tolerate insults, a situation will manifest where you are deeply insulted.
It's like clockwork.
It really is. The charting is a diagnostic tool to find your own cracks before the universe tests them. And what's fascinating here is the sheer autonomy Baba grants the practitioner. Be your own teacher, he says. No guru is going to look inside your head and score you.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself.
You have to possess the radical self-honesty to know if you actually stopped your thoughts for 1 second or if you were secretly still worrying about your grocery list.
And this self-honesty, this checking, is what leads to the Vardhan, the blessing of the Murali. Baba blesses the listener to be an embodiment of all attainments, receiving the crown of light based on complete purity. But he specifically notes that if any attainment is lacking, this crown of light will not be clearly visible.
Let's explain the physics of this crown of light, because it's a brilliant metaphor for purity. In this context, purity isn't just a moral checklist. It's absolute clarity of mind. Let's use the analogy of a superconductor.
Oh, I love this. Let's hear it.
In physics, when a normal wire conducts electricity, it has resistance. It loses energy in the form of heat, which is why your laptop gets hot.
Yay.
That resistance is akin to waste thoughts, doubts, and old sanskars. But if you cool a material down to absolute zero, it becomes a superconductor. It has zero electrical resistance. An electrical current can flow through a loop of superconducting wire indefinitely without any power source, creating a massive, perfect magnetic field.
So achieving a state of complete purity is like reaching absolute zero in the mind.
Exactly. The 1-second drill cools the mind down to absolute zero thoughts. When you have zero waste thoughts, there is zero internal resistance.
Wow.
Your spiritual energy flows perfectly, without friction. That perfect, infinite flow of energy generates a visible, radiant aura, the crown of light. If you are lacking even one power, say the power to pack up your thoughts, you have introduced resistance back into the wire.
And what happens then?
The energy dissipates, the magnetic field drops, the crown of light dims.
That is an amazing way to understand it. It's not a magic hat. It's the natural physical result of a mind with zero friction.
Exactly.
So if you were listening to this right now, I ask you, how would your daily report card look today? Are you a superconductor? Is your crown of light blindingly visible, or are you losing energy to the heat of old sanskars running in the background?
And realizing this leads us to the culmination of the Murali. Why do we need this crown? Why do we need to be a superconductor? It is not just so we can sit alone in a room and feel peaceful.
No.
The ultimate purpose is what happens when you take that zero-resistance mind out into the world.
Yes, the slogan. This is where we hit the crescendo. The slogan given in the Murali today is, "Only those who remain stable in their spiritual state are the great donors through the mind." The Mansa Mahadani.
Let's synthesize this whole journey. You drop the old habits into the donation bin.
Check.
You master the hourly pattern interrupt of the 1-second drill. You check your chart, eliminate resistance, and generate the crown of light. And when you do all of that, you reach the final stage. You become a Jwala Swarup.
A Jwala Swarup. Baba describes this as becoming a powerhouse or a volcano of light for powerful remembrance.
Right.
He gives this Avyak signal that merely being good, cooperative, or loving is no longer enough. Being nice won't cut it anymore.
The distinction between being good and being a Jwala Swarup is the difference between a flickering candle and a volcano.
Oh, that's a huge difference.
Being a good spiritual student is passive. You don't lie, you don't steal, you are polite to your neighbors. You are a candle. You provide a little bit of light. But if a strong wind blows, a global crisis, a personal tragedy, you are extinguished. Being a Mansa Mahadani, a great donor of the mind, is an active, radiating force.
A volcano of light. That is such an intense visual. It's not just sitting there glowing. A volcano violently displaces everything around it.
Precisely. A volcano literally reshapes the earth. It creates new land masses. In a spiritual sense, when your mind reaches the Master Almighty Authority stage, your peace is so concentrated, so intensely powerful, that it displaces the sorrow, fear, and negativity in the atmosphere around you.
That's incredible.
You don't have to argue with darkness. Your sheer presence burns it away.
Baba uses the perfect metaphor for this. He says that when you reach this stage, all obstacles will merely circle you like moths around a flame, completely unable to cause harm.
Right.
A moth might put out a candle if it flies into the wick, but a moth flying into a volcano is instantly consumed. The obstacle dissolves upon contact with your spiritual authority.
This is exactly how soul-conscious drills enhance divine mental focus. They take you from a fragile, easily distracted mind to a roaring fire of pure consciousness.
So, what does this all mean for our day-to-day life? I mean, I have to challenge this concept, because a volcano of light sounds terrifying.
It sounds intense.
It sounds heavy, serious, and almost aggressive. Yet Baba's final instruction in the Murali is incredibly lighthearted.
Yeah.
He says to be cheerful and obstacle-free all year. Teach everyone to smile through your face and behavior. Do not just walk, but fly. How on earth do we balance the aggressive, world-displacing power of a volcano with the instruction to just be a smiling, flying, cheerful person?
It sounds like a paradox, but it really just reveals our misunderstanding of what true power is.
Okay, how so?
In the physical Kali Yugi world, power is associated with force, burden, dominance, and heaviness. We think a powerful CEO or politician must be stressed and serious. But divine power is inherently joyful.
Because there is zero resistance.
Exactly. We go back to the superconductor. Heaviness and seriousness come from internal friction. When a soul is entirely free of old sand scars, when they can hit the 1-second drill perfectly, there is no friction.
No friction at all.
The lack of friction produces immense volcano-level power. But internally, it feels utterly weightless. That weightlessness is what Baba calls the flying stage.
Walking implies friction. You feel the gravity of the earth. You feel the resistance of the path.
But flying implies a life where navigating worldly problems is effortless. You are floating above the dense gravity of ego and conflict. You can be a volcano of transformative power on the inside, burning away the world's sorrow through Mansa Seva, while simultaneously having the lightest, most infectious smile on the outside.
That's beautiful.
True spiritual authority doesn't frown, it smiles, because it already knows the end of the story. It holds the golden world constantly in its vision.
That is a phenomenal synthesis. Your stability is your power, and your unshakable cheerfulness is the vehicle through which that power is delivered.
Right.
It's been an absolutely staggering journey through this Murli today. We started by unwrapping the gift of the golden world, understanding that it's a frequency we hold in our vision right now to serve the world as ancestor souls, calming the chaotic atmosphere like spiritual first responders.
We then confronted the brutal reality of our old sand scars. We realized that we have to lift the hands of our mind, surrender our deeply grooved habits to Baba, and refuse to commit spiritual theft by fishing them back out of the donation bin.
We learned the exact mechanical blueprint to prevent relapses, the 15-day, hourly, 1-second drill.
A literal reset button.
We saw how this acts as a severe pattern interrupt, rewriting thousands of years of body consciousness and building the muscle memory to become a point of light on command, even in a boardroom.
We examine the necessity of the daily padamail, the self-charting that diagnostics our internal resistance. We learned that by achieving absolute purity acting as a mental superconductor, we generate the crown of light and align with the frequency of the 108.
And we brought it all together with the slogan. We realized our ultimate duty is not just to be passive good people, but to be Mansa Mahadanis.
Right.
To become a flying, cheerful Jwala Swarup, a volcano of light that effortlessly burns away obstacles and makes the world smile.
It is a profound, comprehensive manual for becoming a sovereign of your own mind. It requires immense courage, but the multi-steps of divine help are guaranteed.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Baba asks us to practice the 1-second drill to become a point of light instantly. But think about the profound implications of this on the concept of time itself.
Time is a big one.
We have been conditioned to believe that spiritual enlightenment is a long, agonizing journey that takes decades of suffering and asceticism. But if you can fundamentally change your entire reality, drop all anxiety, erase all resistance, and step into total spiritual sovereignty in just one tick of a clock, then time isn't what's holding you back.
No, it's not.
Time is an illusion we use to excuse our old habits. You are literally always, in every given moment, just 1 second away from the golden world. So what will you do with your next second? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, keep practicing that 1-second drill, and Om Shanti.